Hello, welcome to the Frame. Blah 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 blah. I'll do that again.
It's live. It's live.
Again. I understand it's live, Dan, but I've messed it up so many times over the past few weeks. I roll with the punches, so I've got to roll with this one. Okay? Can you allow me to roll with it?
Roll with it, my friend.
Thank you very much. Hello and welcome to the 3inMidfield podcast. The podcast with three friends who had their dreams of being professional footballers dashed away as children as they all discovered food have their say on the Premier League. That's my part done. Bye-bye.
Get yourself back here. We need to ask you guys for a while. I've never seen the third midfielder.
So many people ask that question, man.
He left the club under circumstances that were beyond his control. So we terminated his contract, but he's still loved by the fans. You know,
you could have changed the name to midfield.
Yeah, man. We're like 3 years deep. No point, man.
You know, I don't want to do like the sugar babes and just start replacing people. You know what I'm saying? Just keep it how it was. I was saying.
Thank you. Ever-present Coach Kojo. It's fine. Tristan joins me as well.
Yeah, man. Like, come on. Hello.
Very much. It's been
yes, come on.
It's been a mad one. Let's say that for the beginning. Ever-present Coach Kojo -1. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's been a long day, but we're here to talk football. You guys over here suffered draws or not suffered, had draws or wins. My team, on the other hand, normal service resumed. So, but this is a podcast about Premier League, so we're talking about FA Cup. So yeah, I'm good. What are you saying?
Oh no, we are.
I swear.
Yeah. Patrick, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, I feel better now that we finally got a win under our belt. So yeah, we're good.
Excellent. Lawless, how you doing, sir?
I'm tired. I'm tired and I'm fed up. That's how I'm feeling. I can't sugarcoat it. I'm just sick of Arsenal. I'm sick of playing Arsenal, honestly. That's how I feel. I'm not going to get over it anytime soon, to be honest.
Swings and roundabouts, man. Swings and roundabouts. I mean, you get the draw sometimes, we win. That's how it goes. That's how it goes.
That's how it goes. Is we turn up, we perform, we play. You know what I mean? We deserve to get something. You guys always jammy bastards come and nick something out of the game. Tired of it. 3 games in a row now. But yeah, so my mood's not great. But I'm here for you guys. You know, I didn't want to duck out a bit. I've got to show my face. You know.
Thank you very much, Abby. How you doing?
I'm good. I can't believe I've got a West Ham fan moaning about they're having the best season probably in your history for years and years and years, and you're moaning. You're moaning.
We will get into it. We will get into that.
My God.
They always find a way. I say either they're 10th and it's not good enough, or they're 5th and it's not good enough. It's not good enough. You're never going to win the championship, so be happy with what you got. You could be 10th. Not Arsenal, though.
Yeah. Like someone we know. Oh, you're 9th now. Did you climb?
Thanks for the point. Thanks for the point, man. Thanks for the point. We'll get into that game, of course. We'll start there. West Ham 3, Arsenal 3. Arsenal should have won that match. I'll put that out there.
Oh, stop it, please.
Wow.
That's how we're starting this already, yeah?
That's crazy, bro. Goals from Jesse Lingard, Jared Bowen, disgraceful. Thomas Souček. Then here comes the wonderful goals. Thomas Souček got a second, but for Arsenal, of course. Craig Dawson then got an own goal, and then Alexander Lacazette scored the equalizer. Lawless, upset are we?
Do you know what it is? Like, if it had been any other team, I would have been disappointed. I would have been annoyed, but you know, I would have took it and moved on. But you know, I said it before the game. Before we even played. It's like I knew the story was there. And I just get so tired of every time we play Arsenal, they find a way to get something out of the game, whether it's a win or a draw or something like that. Every single time. It doesn't matter where we are, where you are. The story is the same. And that's why I'm moaning. That's why I'm annoyed. Obviously, certain things in the game, referee performances, some of the decisions that we made. Yeah, you would say that. You would say that. The team that have been talking about conspiracy theories against Arsenal, yeah.
Absolutely. One game in a 38 game season. How many games are we in now? Like one game. You can't allow us one game. Come on now.
That's the thing. Like I'm annoyed at some of the choices Moyes made, but I'm not so much annoyed in the grand scheme of things. In the grand scheme of things, take away it's Arsenal. Take away was 3-0 up. The point, we're 2 points behind Chelsea, and we play them next. So big opportunity to still go forward. All amazing. It's just how the game played out. That's what annoys me. Everything about that game. We should have won that game. We should have won it. You know, and I think if we don't concede that first goal, that first own goal, Souček don't need to put his leg there. He was going wide clearly, and he does. And then you get that goal in the first half, which gives you a little bit of belief. If you go into the into half time, 3-0 up, you know what I mean? You guys come out completely different, I think. So yeah, too many bad decisions, bad choices in that game for players. Antonio was knackered. We went negative. Why are we trying to hold on to a 3-0 lead? We're battling. Why don't we just keep doing it? You know? Yeah, that's a few. And the ref. Patrick pointed out before the game. You know, we were through on goal. Ref pulls it back for a foul for us, rather than play the advantage. We was in a 2-on-1 situation. You know, you was alluding to quick free kicks. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Because
let's talk about it. Indeed, I feel like you've got a gripe with that. I feel like your free kick in any other situation would have been pulled back. Referee wasn't ready.
No, but let's talk about the Lacazette one, right? Because that was a quick free kick. But not only was it a quick free kick, the ball was moving.
It was stationary.
It was not. I've seen the video. I've seen it in slow motion.
It slowed it down to like a millisecond. If it slows it down to a millisecond, I'm fine.
The ball was moving. It was nowhere near where the so-called foul was. And he goes and takes it. Like, come on.
Lawless had that magnifying glass out, like looking.
Exactly.
Yes.
They slowed it down on. I think was it Sky the game was on. They slowed it down to like a millisecond. It wasn't moving. It was perfectly fine. It wasn't close to your goal. You had time to prepare. But
really,
yeah.
I mean that whole Bowen thing as well. Like they given the foul against Bowen. Like I just thought I was baffled by that. Which obviously
did you write these down in like a book or something? Because I feel like you really came prepared for this one.
It's ingrained in my head. They've been playing them over and over and over again, every single time. Aubameyang's dive, where Sofao gets the yellow card, like he was literally going down before he even touched him. That's going to come up again against a certain white and navy blue team or whatever they are for second colours. We'll talk about going down before contact is made later on.
Here we go.
That's what happened with Aubameyang.
I see Arsenal. I see you're very quiet, not wanting to talk about penalties and going down when it's not a penalty.
Who? Arsenal fans?
You, yeah.
Get out of town. We're the most honest team.
Oh my God.
We're where? In Islington.
Yes, bro. Islington in London, in England, bro. That's the most honest team out there. Wow. Long are the days where we easily dive. Long are the days.
Right. Yeah.
But anyway, let's talk about those decisions that you seem to not agree with. So why do you think Moyes came out of second half and decided just to? I mean, you were sitting back, to be fair, but you sat an extra yard. Why did he do that?
This is the thing. Moyes, I think he just shits himself sometimes. If I'm, apologies for the language, but I feel like that's what he, and I can't get onto him too bad, like because of the season we're having. But it's these little things that annoy me about him. It's the same way we went into Man United when we played them the week before. We just decided to play so defensively against a team who, in that game, didn't really offer much at all, and we could have, I think, took the game to them and got something out of it. Really, again, another own goal in that game. Dawson's 2 for 2. I've been praising him too much now, and he's coming to try and prove me right at the start of the season. But yeah, I don't know why he does. He brings Noble on, and we're all looking at this and we're like, why? What is this obsession with bringing Noble on? He started, he had Noble in against Man United. I love Noble to death, but what is he expecting to do? Bowen was he scored a goal. He was still making things happen. Ben Rama was still creating. I know defensively, okay, Ben Rama lost his man or whatever, but in terms of getting that next goal, they was creating chances, and now you've taken all of that off of the pitch and you've put Noble and Fredericks. I didn't even notice Fredericks that game. So those decisions, and there's a weird thing in our fan base, like you can't criticize Moyes. If you say anything about Moyes, then you're ungrateful, or you don't know what you're talking about. But we can criticize players all day long. We can criticize Antonio for the miss, even though he's about to become our top ever Premier League goal scorer. So yeah, it's just frustrating. It is frustrating, but grand scheme of things, we're still in the race for top 4. If we go and slap Chelsea, then it will make me feel better. I feel better. It all will be forgiven. The universe will be right, and harmony will be restored. So that's what I'm hoping to see. It's a big ask, but hopefully we've learned our lessons and we get Ogbonna back. Ogbonna was a big miss, and Masuaku Fornals as well. I got to say that Fornals.
I feel like if your defenders make Callum Chambers look like a prime Cafu, you might not win that game against Chelsea, because he did. I mean, so let's get into the Arsenal, because I'd say Callum Chambers going forward, Lacazette and Odegaard were the real players that kind of rescued that game for Arsenal. Everybody else was just missing. Thomas Partey had probably the worst game in an Arsenal shirt I've seen him have. Saka had a nightmare. He missed that golden opportunity to make it 3-2, and I think any other player puts it in either corner, he made the wrong decision. Aubameyang, bloody hell, where was Aubameyang? I don't even know where he was.
His time is up. His time is up. It's ticking.
His time is up. His time is
up,
up.
but he just got a new contract, Wow.
Yeah, good timing from Arsenal as well to give him that contract.
Beautiful timing.
What is it with you lot? Why do you always give people these long, big contracts and then they literally don't want to play for you after you give it?
I don't know. I honestly, I can't tell you, but
let's be real.
I'd rather keep a striker in form than lose him eventually, like by him whittling down his contract. Like
he's not there for the money, surely. Like he's not there for the trophies. If he would have had a chance, let's be real. That time
he could have there for the trophies, bro. He won the FA Cup last season, and West Ham's there.
Big boy trophies. Listen. This ain't comparing. I know. I'm talking about this. This is not West Ham fan Dan Lawless here. This is football fan Dan Lawless, and I'm sure the other panels can take their bias out of it, like I am, and believe, like we like to say, Harry Kane should leave for trophies. Cool, you won an FA Cup, but this guy should be competing for the top trophies, yeah. The league title and the Champions League.
At the moment, he wouldn't get into any.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
But in fairness, you forget he come from Dortmund, so he was playing Champions League. So technically, he took a step down when he comes to Arsenal. Yeah. Without my bias, obviously.
No, that's true.
Without it.
But it's true. If you have a look since he's come, how many times have Arsenal qualified for the Champions League?
Zero.
Precisely. So the guys come from Champions League football to Arsenal, obviously to try and get them back into the Champions League, assuming that's obviously what he was sold with. I'll come back and we'll get in the Champions League. Hasn't happened. So, if he wants to go and play Champions League football, then obviously he's got to move, surely. So I don't know why he bothered signing that contract.
50 million for Europa League, that's a bit mad.
Yeah.
Maybe if you do what
it's got to be, surely.
Well, if he has ambition, he'll do what Van Persie did, right?
Well, go to Man United right now.
No, not Man United now. Not United now. I'm not talking about Man United, but leave for a team that actually does stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, whatever. Let's talk about Arsenal though. Looking at it from I guess I go to you, Kojo, from an unbiased perspective.
Yeah.
What were those?
We're unbiased.
Huh?
We're all unbiased. The rest of us.
Yeah. I bet. What was that? How do you describe that first 30 minutes from Arsenal?
Disjointed. There was so many things to question. Aubameyang was starting right wing. Like I said, was constantly deep. The defense, to be fair, the defense was usually what the defense tend to be, apart from the last couple of weeks. And Leno, who is proven to be not as good as people thought he was. I think with Arsenal, they've got that kind of thing where if you're a good team, if you get at them in the first half an hour, you will kill them. Unfortunately for West Ham, what had happened was West Ham sort of lost themselves And as soon as the own goal went in, it's like they kind of dropped heads a little bit. They weren't confident. They weren't feeling ready for the game. But Arsenal's first, when they start games, they're not convincing. Like it's something weird about them, and that's why when you've played teams, I always talk about teams getting at other teams. Arsenal are a team you can get out from the jump. You cannot approach that game with fear, Jose. So so you have to. I mean, I say Jose, but I mean we haven't beaten them this season either. It's the same thing, right? So at the end of the day, Arsenal they are starting to find a bit of form here and there. But at the end of the day, if you go at them, there are still frailties out there. Arsenal are not a better team than they were at the beginning of the season. They still got the same team. Just they got rid of a few poor players. They added Odegaard, which is a good player. And Smith Rowe's got his chance, but defensively they're still poor. Partey hasn't found any level of form, and Xhaka is Granit Xhaka. So, that 30 minutes was mad, it was crazy, but it was also to be expected at the same time because if you get Arsenal, West Ham came for Arsenal's necks quick, very very quick. Lingard, my boy, scored a beautiful goal. Souček, just about lucky, but he got a nice goal as well. And who was it? Bowen. Smart thinking as well. So this is what it is.
Antonio, didn't it? It was Antonio, wasn't it? Rather than Souček, I believe.
No, yeah, Antonio head and then it hit Souček's foot as it went in.
Yeah, I'm giving that to Antonio. They're giving it to Souček. I hadn't seen that.
Yeah, of course. So he hit his foot last. So of course it's Souček's.
Antonio assists. So Antonio got 2 assists.
He got 2 assists. So shout out my fantasy
points. He got
points.
in the way twice. He got in the way and robbed someone of a.
Well, you know what? If he had scored from flipping 2 yards, he would be scoring. He would have been on the score sheet in it, but he didn't do it. So that's on him. But yeah, I know. I know about Bummy strikers anyway. I got someone from the land of the Eiffel Tower in my team, so it's what it is. But yeah, Arsenal were distracted. That's the best way for me to say it.
Let's get a Tottenham fans' perspective on this. Would you, if you were in an Arsenal fan's position, which you maybe you can argue that they kind of are, would you stick with this manager considering the last 10? I think the 10 games. I think it's like 8 or 7 losses on not in a row, but 7 losses, like 2 draws, 1 win, or something like that. Would you stick with this manager? Would you trust his process? Let's go to you, Abby.
Are you asking me of an Arsenal perspective, or are you asking me from a Spurs perspective?
I'm asking for your perspective.
If I'm Arsenal, I stick with Arteta. I think he's a good coach. I think your problem is your squad. I don't think that you have enough quality in him. Similar to Spurs in a completely non-biased way. I think that we're quite similar in certain areas. I think we both are so defensively poor, and it was completely our fault for making it look good last week. Last week we just didn't turn up. And, you guys are right. If you go for Arsenal early doors in the first 5-10 minutes, you won't win. Like most of the times you will not win. Obviously, yesterday you got back into the game. But I think that's, from a Spurs perspective, if we'd just have done that from the offset last week, I think it would have been a completely different game. But obviously, hindsight's a beautiful thing. But no, if I was you guys, I'd stick with Arteta because I think that he's a good coach. I just think he obviously wants to play a certain way. And I think that sometimes it's working for you. But then I just think it's your personnel. I think that's half of the problem. And you just are quite an average side. You've got a few good players and you've got a few good youngsters that are coming through, which are, homegrown, which is great. Like Saka, like Smith Rowe. Obviously, I think Odegaard has made a big difference to you guys as well. But I think until you sort your defensive problems out, same as us, I don't really think it makes a difference who's in charge. And that's the same approach I take with Spurs. Like, I'm not neither Jose in or out. I think that, would I want him long term? No, I never wanted him long term. I didn't want to get rid of Pochettino, but he's here and I'm over that. And that's what we've got to do. I think that there's bigger issues in both clubs. And with Spurs, it's also a big issue with the squad. It's an issue with the manager, and it's a very big issue that stems from the board. So would I get rid of Jose at the moment? Not at this point in the season. I think it's unnecessary with the cup final. I think if anyone is going to beat Guardiola, and I don't mean beat City, I mean beat Guardiola, I think it would be Mourinho. But I think Summer's a different outfit. Whether or not we stick with him, I don't know. I think it will totally depend on whether or not we win a cup or, if there is that release clause that was floating about. But I think that both of our team's problems stem deeper than who is just in charge, personally, from my perspective anyway.
Patrick?
Yeah, pretty much what Abby said. So it's spot on. It's identical in terms of Arsenal. I think Arteta is a good young coach. He's a good manager. He's getting the most out of his players. You're seeing him develop players and bring them through, which is obviously a fan that's exciting. That's what you want to see. He trusts in the youth. Defensively, I'm still not sure about him, but again, it's the personnel, so I don't know how much blame I can put on him. But in regards to some of the decisions he makes, I'm still a bit miffed. Like this whole Aubameyang on the left, Aubameyang on the right, Aubameyang in the middle. I still don't understand what he's trying to do. Martinelli seems to have fallen off a cliff this season. I don't know if that's to do with injuries or him being coached. The Willian thing again, how much if Arteta was the guy to bring him in and also continue to play him even when he stinks, then again you have to question the manager. So he's definitely not blameless, but I do agree with Abby, the personnel isn't good enough. And it's the same with us. Jose Mourinho's continuing to play Davinson Sanchez and Eric Dyer as a partnership when they definitely don't work. You know, I could get onto Jose all day. But yeah, in regards to the personnel, both teams definitely need better squads. They need to really do something in the summer if they want to push on. Otherwise, we're both going to be doing this 5th, 6th, 7th place, challenging.
9th, maybe.
Actually, you can't tell me that the personnel aren't better than mid-table in the league. You can't say that. Look at the players that was out there. Them players, if you've got a top quality manager, you can find a way to at least get them competing for the top. Even if you're not competing for the top 4 in and around them Europa League places. But he's been mid-table for a lot of times this season. And we forget that big losing streak that they went on, and he seems to have this situation where he upsets players and he has those sorts of issues of man management and things like that. And I feel like the expectations have lowered so much for Arsenal because you can't tell me Emery had better players than Arteta. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me Wenger towards the end of his reign had better players. But they all were doing better with Arsenal and getting higher up the table. They had an 8th place finish last season, and they're on track to finish in there or lower this season. So I think he needs a lot of scrutiny. I think the fact that he's young, he does get away with it. But I feel like don't go and try and learn your trade at a club like Arsenal. Go to the Championship. Go to, the Scottish Premier League or, somewhere else. But
that's on Arsenal for giving him that job there. That's on them for entrusting him to do that. And obviously at the time when he got the job, that was kind of the thing at the time. Obviously you saw like Lampard getting jobs like that, Gerrard, you see Arteta doing it. And I think it's a good ethos because firstly they don't come with a massive price tag like we've got with Jose, where I guess if you sack him, he's not on 15 million a year. It's not going to cost you anywhere near that. But I agree with you about the losing streak. It's definitely, I think from an Arsenal perspective, it's an issue. But I think that Arsenal have just got progressively worse. And I think that, again, that also comes down to your recruitment. I think Arteta will be a good coach. I think he is a good coach. There's no way you can learn under Guardiola for that long and not be. I just think it's mad. You couldn't not be a good coach. You kind of not absorbed what kind of things he's trying to do. But I just think that he was so insistent on playing the way he wanted to play at the beginning of the season, and it just was not going anywhere fast. But I feel like they've adapted a lot more now, and that's why they obviously have picked up points. But whether or not they're good enough to finish any higher up, probably not. But I think that comes back down to the squad and the recruitment of Arsenal as well.
I feel like down to your point about Arteta under Guardiola, if that was the case, then loads of managers under Alex Ferguson would be Premier League winners and stuff like that, or Wenger, or
but you hear how highly they spoke about Arteta when he was at City, and how many players have spoken about him and his coaching. I fail to believe that he's not a good coach. I think that maybe you're right. Maybe he did need a smaller job first, but he was given that job by the Arsenal board, so that's what he's got. But I think that. Maybe
that's his level though, like assistant. Some people make better assistants, don't they, than like actual first
Steve
team.
McClaren, he is one of them. Steve McClaren didn't do that well, but he was under Fergie for a long time.
Yeah, obviously he was under Fergie when they were super successful. I think it's one of them. And again, I just don't think that they have better players. They had better players under Emery and Wenger in the later years than they do now. They've obviously made some good signings and things like that. It's an interesting one. I think next season is going to tell us a lot, obviously, about what they can do. But I think the clock will be ticking on him for sure. And next season, he has to deliver top 4, surely. If he can get away with it this season, it's top 4 or nothing. Like, that's the minimum requirement. He told Willian when he signed that they would win the Champions League in 3 years. That's what he told Willian. They're not even, you know what I mean? They're not even going to be in it within those 3 years by the look of things, you know. He'll have 1 year to do it if he does get them top 4 next season.
I mean, we could win the Europa League, you never know.
But, you know, Europa League, but not the Champions League. He said he'd win the Champions League.
I know, but we need to get into the I'm saying in terms of getting into we could win the Europa League, get into the competition. I'm not saying,
Sorry. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Okay. That gives him like 2 years to try and win.
I feel like my patience for him is running out, man, because it's a pattern now. You can't say it's a few games here. Every single game, barring the Fulham one, we started extremely, extremely poorly. And it feels like he can't coach his way out of that, because a top coach would have found a way, would have found a system to get away from conceding in the early 10 minutes, 20 minutes. And we're on the back foot constantly. And it comes down to individuals, because it's not a team, it's individuals, where they pull a performance out their backsides, like Callum Chambers did against West Ham, like Odegaard, like Lacazette. And that ends up with us getting a point or maybe getting a win. I'm getting tired of that. Yes, we play in some form of nicer football right now, but I'm pretty sure there are loads of managers that can play nice football. It's about winning at the end of the day. And for Arsenal, we need to be getting back up to the top 4 positions. Like you said, I don't see it happening under Arteta. I feel like, yes, he's a good coach, but you need something extra to translate that into being a great or good manager. And I just don't think that he has it. I feel like what his current job should be right now is just trying to get rid of all the dead wood, which he has. He started, he has, but then again, he's playing Willian, he's playing Xhaka, he's playing David Luiz constantly. So these are the decisions. El Neni as well, but I've put to a degree, because I feel like nobody wanted him because he didn't have a great experience in Turkey. So I feel like he should just get rid of the dead wood and then go as well, because I can't see it improving. But we spoke on Arsenal for half an hour. Lawless, you gonna get to Champions League?
Ask me after Chelsea. We beat Chelsea, then I'm gonna be believing that we're getting Champions League. I think if we lose that game, if we draw, we're still in it. And anything happens, we've got some very favourable games coming up. But I think if we lose, I mean, it's what they call a 6-pointer in football. I think that will put them 5 points ahead of us. And psychologically, I think it might be a little bit too steep of a mountain to climb. But I hope so. I really hope so. Like I'd love it, and that would make up for it as well. But Chelsea is huge. So we did the double over them last season. They we was unlucky this season with the last fixture. Now, let's see what we can do in this game. This is huge game.
Huge indeed. Huge game in terms of Tottenham season. Happened yesterday. 2-0 to them. Goals from Carlos Vinicius and Harry Kane from a penalty spot. You said earlier that the decision for the penalty decision was a bit conclusive. Yes, what's your feelings on that situation?
No, like
penalty.
You think it's a penalty?
Look, I've seen so many penalties given this season, which I don't think are penalties, and I think they're soft. And I'm not just saying it because obviously we're talking about Arsenal, but that last week, it's not a penalty for me. For most people, it's not a penalty. What I'm saying is, I don't know what constitutes a penalty and what doesn't anymore. Personally, I really don't.
That's what does. I feel
the shot had already gone.
Contact.
That's what they're going off now. And this yesterday was a definite penalty. He took him out, he cleaned him out, and the ball was still in play. So how is it not a pen?
The ball was out.
It's a penalty, bro.
But honestly, you see penalties given for like the softest thing these days. So I genuinely have no idea what actually constitutes a penalty. I was buzzing we got it, but every time, like, I think to myself, we probably won't get it, because I think sometimes we are unlucky with penalties. Not necessarily this season, but I think sometimes there's been like questionable decisions. Where like the Eric Dyer one, start of the season, that now wouldn't be given. Things like that. That's why I find it really hard to keep up as to actually what constitutes a penalty and will it be given. Things you think will be given aren't given. And sometimes I think it just depends on the team playing, honestly.
I think that's a very good point, isn't it? Like what Abby's saying about this season. There's a lot of things like handball, what isn't handball, what isn't a foul or a penalty and things like that. I think that that's a great point. The only thing is, what I'd say is, and I watched it just before I came. I watched it a few times, and to me, when you look at it and all the slow motion, all of that, Kane is going down before the contact is made.
Here we go.
He missed.
Look at you, your slow motion. Everything's in slow motion. Let it go.
But look, he miskicks the ball, right? So he goes to kick the ball, he misses it. Mm-hmm. As he miskicks the ball, the momentum from missing that ball takes his body weight a little bit back, and then as he's falling back, Matty Cash then, just as he's falling, makes the contact afterwards. So he's already going down. Then the contact's made, but the ball's gone. There's no chance of a goal scoring situation. There's nothing. It's, to me, that's not a penalty. I think that's incredibly.
But is it a penalty because he was already going down? Because if he stood up, he still would have cleaned them out anyway. So
I think it's because he was going down, like the contact was after, like he was already hitting the floor, so he didn't impede him in any way when it come to what he was doing on the ball. Do you know what I mean? Like it was done, done. And even the Tottenham one last week with you guys, I wouldn't. That one's a little bit more tricky, but even then, you look at it and you think the ball is fully going out of play. It's sort of like an off, really, if anything, like an off the ball issue. And whether you're given a penalty for that, and if it was anywhere else on the pitch, that probably wouldn't be given as a free kick. I mean, it was reckless, but at the same time. But I think this one, super, super, super soft, and it's. But it happened to Villa, and they are the worst divers in the league, so I don't feel sorry for them. Crying no tears for them. Honestly,
Carlos Vinicius got a goal. I think it's his first goal in the Premier League, but then again, he hasn't really been playing. What was your expectations for him when he came in? Were you expecting him to, I don't know, not rival Harry Kane, but have more of an impact in this Spurs side, considering that he was quite a good, had quite a good pedigree in Portugal, Patrick?
Yeah, I mean, he was the top goal scorer in Portugal last year, so I was excited that we got him. It was quite acute to get him on loan. And I was excited as well because, to be fair, not many strikers want to come in knowing that they're going to sit pretty much most of the season behind Harry Kane. So, to be fair, I'm happy with what he's done. I think they said yesterday, in the 10 games that he started, he scored 9 goals. He scored quite a lot of Europa League goals. So, to be fair, I can't really fault his effort and his commitment. When he's played, he's looked on it. He's not sulked. He's banged in goals when we needed them. And I think he's contributed to the team. I can't really complain. I think I like his hold up play. He's something different, and he is a natural poacher. I wouldn't say he's a great finisher, but he is a goal scorer. He gets in positions, and obviously when we've asked him to deliver, he's delivered. So I can't really complain.
A Tottenham season though. Obviously, we talked about Mourinho before, but let's ask the question. Is a potential top 4 and a League Cup enough for where you want to be right now? Or where you want to be?
I'd bite your hand off for it, honestly, at this point. I mean, I could not believe when I looked at that table yesterday that there is only 3 points between us and Chelsea. And I had to look at it for ages because I was like, I cannot believe, after how bad we've been for the last over 2 months, right? Everyone's singing Chelsea's praises, that there are literally 3 points between us. And I just was in shock. And I thought, we could actually do this. Whether we're good enough to do it is a completely different thing. Whether or not we deserve it, again, different conversation. But yeah, I mean, it's actually not out of the realms of possibility if we do that, if we can find some form. You know, the Carabao Cup is a very big ask, but what actually might bode in our favour is that we're not playing midweek now. So that's a positive, I guess, you can take from that catastrophe on Thursday, which I'm trying to avoid desperately because I've only just got in a better mood as of last night about it. So yeah, look, it's not unheard of. It's whether or not teams around us slip up. West Ham being one, obviously Chelsea being one, Leicester, I guess, but it's not out of the realms. But it's really important that when we come back from international break, I think he needs to stick with what we had last night. I really like seeing Rodon. I'm actually confused as to why we haven't seen him more this season, especially with how our defence has been playing. Because I feel like when he has played, he hasn't, been bad at all for me. I really like seeing Tanganga. I'm sure Patrick feels the same way. And also, I loved Lucas Moura last night. I think he really embodied exactly what everyone wanted to see from that team back after Thursday. So I just think it's important to actually keep a bit of consistency at the back, build a bit of confidence. And I think he just needs to stop chopping and changing, Dyer and Sanchez or Dyer and Toby or Sanchez and Toby. It's not working. Like, just go with something new, go with something fresh, and let's just see if we can pick up points. Because I think the run-in before that cup final, I think we've got Newcastle, United and Everton. Not sure what way around that is, but, them 3 games are going to be so important for Spurs, like confidence-wise. And then I think, if we're on a bad run going into that final, I just, what Spurs are like mentally. Like, I just can't foresee us getting anywhere close to City. And also, but again, it's the same as the top 4. So technically, I guess you are still fighting for 4th somehow. Don't know how, but we'll take it.
Same question to you, Patrick. Is that enough? Top 4 and a League Cup.
You know what? I said this on Twitter earlier. I think I love Pochettino, and I was so sad to see him go. But if Jose gets us top 4 in a trophy, that surpasses everything that Poch has done. And it sounds crazy considering how bad we've been this season. But it's the reality. I'm sorry, but it's the reality.
On paper, it does.
No. Because this is 13 years of pain without trophy. It's the trophy that he's slapping on top of it. That's why.
Exactly. A trophy and top 4 would be better than what Poch has ever delivered. I hate to say it, but it's the truth. And the fact that the football's been awful, the fact that we've gone through so much hard times under Jose Mourinho, but we're only 3 points off Chelsea. We've got the same goal difference as them. We're a point behind West Ham. It's still in our hands. It's still all to play for. We still go to United. We still we play United. We play Leicester. We play Everton. We've got a lot of games at home against
Newcastle's your next game, isn't it?
Newcastle's the next game. So it is still in our hands. So to be fair, right now, even though it's just been a crazy season, like Abby said, I couldn't believe it when I saw the table and we're only 3 points off 4th and we're only a point behind West Ham.
That's mad. All you got to do is Newcastle when you go above either us or Chelsea.
Yeah.
That says a lot about the Premier League.
But doesn't it say, like, not in like a negative way, but like if we can be that poor and we're still in like 3 points behind 4th, and like, I'm not digging you out, but West Ham are literally having their best season in years. Chelsea are apparently, unbeatable at the moment, like a force to be reckoned with. Like, that honestly tells you about either the quality throughout the league when you take City out of the equation with everyone else, or the effects that COVID have obviously had playing basically back-to-back seasons. So it's I just find it interesting.
Run, though, isn't it, where you guys won the league in November, so that's probably gone a long way. There was that.
No, but it says a lot. It says a lot about the league because we've been talking about teams in form, and United have been. I've said it. United are the least inconsistent, just based on the fact that they're second. That's it. It's not about them being so much better than everybody else. We're not a better team than Liverpool, but Liverpool have been so inconsistent that they're not even. What are they? 7th, 8th right now? 7th. Leicester had a time where they were beating teams. They went to City and smacked up City. Dropped form completely, but they're 3rd. Chelsea were struggling under Lampard, nowhere to be seen in the top 4 race. Suddenly they're 4th. West Ham obviously are having a very good season. So in terms of West Ham having a very good season, they deserve to be where they are. But everyone else, you're looking at them, you're like, we've been ripping to Tottenham the whole season. They had a spirit where they were top of the table, then they fell off. They were near Arsenal all of a sudden, and now they're back to 3 points off top 4. That says a lot about this league, and that's why I was saying that, a team like Sheffield United, who for me have never been that truly fantastic. How were they 7th last year, and now they're all the way back down in 20th? Like, I don't know what's going on. So, but for Tottenham, I mean, what was that?
Second season syndrome, innit? That's a lot of them. They get that new promotion bounce, isn't it?
I do want to diss them, but the last time I dissed them, they went and beat my team. So let me not even chat too much.
Wait, you got any games coming up against them?
I think we played them twice, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we've not collected a W this season. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But yeah, so for Tottenham, it's not all doom and gloom. I think is actually a big positive they can take. Now, obviously, if they had beaten Arsenal, they would be level on points. So that's the difference. But now, when you're looking at that run of games, I would say obviously us is a tough game, and yes, because we are second, it looks like a difficult game, but considering what they did to us earlier this season, I wouldn't put myself in that kind of sort of level of confidence. I'm not really sure how it was when it was Tottenham, and there's been times when Tottenham smacked us at their stadium as well. So it's not panic stations. I know he's troublesome, but in the grand scheme of things, if you do finish in the Champions League spot and you do grab your League Cup, or if you don't grab a League Cup, for Tottenham to have a disastrous season but to finish fourth, I'm taking that. If I was a Spurs fan, I'll take that all day long.
I agree with you, because like everyone, obviously with good reason, like especially when you look at like the week we've had, you know, we were going on a good little run. I just don't think anyone expected us to, you know, to turn up at Arsenal how we did. So obviously the mood was just, and I feel like with our fan base, it doesn't take a lot of them in it to like get your back up about Jose, because realistically, no one wanted him in the first place. You know, no one wanted to get rid of Pochettino. Very, very small minority did. And then, you know, to have someone that's ex-Chelsea, ex-United, Jose, of all people, to come in, like I think that he kind of was up against it from the get-go anyway. And I'll be honest, like I did not want him there. Like back in the last season, I was very, very anti-Jose. And then when I watched the documentary, like he kind of grew on me a bit, because I thought, well, actually he's quite funny. Like I quite like him as like just from a banter perspective. But then I was wrong, but still, like I drew a line under it, and I was like, well, do you know what? He's here. There's no point in me hating him, because he's here. He's my manager after all. You've got a back manager who's there. But I feel like anytime something goes wrong, and obviously, you know, the last two performances have been awful, and it's more about the character shown and the way they just haven't turned up. But I don't think he can be held completely accountable for that. I think that it's both. You know, the players do have to answer for stuff. They're the same players that were there and let Pochettino down as well, mostly. You know, bar a few of them. So I think that whatever happens, people are always just going to blame Jose from a Spurs fan perspective, because they don't want him there. But I think they just need to accept that for the next 2 months, he's not going anywhere. So just, you know, just pack it in for like the next couple of months. Let's see what can happen in the final. Let's see if we finish fourth. And then, you know what, if we don't get any of the above, he probably will go in the summer. But until that point, I just don't see the point of flogging the Jose out horse like every game. I just don't think it's going to get us anywhere.
Can you afford to sack him though? That's the question. Obviously, there's a lot of talk of financial issues at Spurs, the pandemic. Obviously, you've missed out on NFL and concerts and all of this stuff. And to sack him is going to cost a lot of money when you guys need signings. So to me, it's going to look like, do you really invest in the squad, or do you sack Jose and get a new manager?
They have to invest in that squad. They have to invest in that squad. I know it's a question for the Tottenham fans, but I always go back to the same reference. Pochettino told us that the rebuild will be painful, and he meant that, because a lot of players you look at now, and you know, Sanchez has not improved from the day he joined them. Eric Dyer is the pun. I was going to say, excuse the pun. You know, Doherty hasn't worked out at all. Alderweireld is aging, so he's losing his powers bit by bit. This is not really aging. Then you go to the midfield. Winks not good enough. Sissoko is a workhorse. He's not a quality footballer in any sense, in my opinion. So they got a lot of work to do. Bergwijn has been a bit average. Lo Celso has been injured a lot, you know. So, and really and truly, until Vinicius came in, they haven't had a backup for Kane, for like a proper backup, for ages. I mean, Llorente came and did a decent job, but in terms of having someone that can come off the bench and do a great job, I still feel like they haven't really placed Jermaine Defoe on that. And Defoe was a very good striker. So a lot of work to do with that team, honestly, so much. It's like United. United fans complain about Mourinho, but I'm like, bruv, this team's been here a while, you know, and they still suck. So really and truly, here's the problem.
Spend the Harry Kane money to sack Jose.
But apparently there's talk that he's got a break clause. Apparently, Thursday night there was no break clause, and we were stuck with him. And now there's apparently a break clause. Patrick, you heard the same thing?
Yeah, exactly. I've heard the same thing. Allegedly, there's a break clause that we can activate in the summer, so it might not be all doom and gloom if we don't deliver. I personally think that if Jose delivers top 4 and gets us a trophy, that we're going to.
He won't get sacked. Yeah, I agree.
He won't get sacked. There's no way. But if he doesn't, I do believe he'll be gone. And allegedly, there's a break clause. We've heard lots of rumours that Nagelsmann's happy to come to London and would be interested in the Tottenham job. So fingers.
Sure he is.
Yeah. So
I'm sure he is.
So hopefully Jose delivers on what he wants. But going off what Abby said, I was actually happy when we appointed Jose. And I know this is going to sound a bit controversial, but I was happy because he's a proven winner and he's something that we didn't have. He was somebody that the players could actually listen to. And with all Poch's tactics and philosophies and everything that Poch did, I felt that there was a time when the players thought, you know what, you haven't been there, you haven't done that. I'm not going to get behind you anymore. They started training. They started moaning about, the strenuous training sessions, double training sessions, all of that stuff. Where with Jose, no matter what happens, he's been there and he's done it, and he's done it at many a different team. So
but Patrick, don't you think that's cheeky of them because they've never been there and done it either?
Yeah, but that's why I think I just think there's so much arrogance about us as a squad, and I think that they have absolutely no right to be arrogant. Yes, Harry Kane is a ridiculously good player. Maybe I'll excuse Harry Kane from that. But they've won nothing. Like, they have won absolutely nothing. And, like, the attitude they had at Zagreb the other night, just, again, I've seen it so many times with Tottenham. We all have. They turn up to games and they think the game is won because they're Tottenham. It doesn't work like that. And I just think that's an arrogance in their mentality. And we've got how many semi-finals? We can say, oh, yeah, we've got to, 4 or 5 semi-finals. But you don't win anything to get into a semi-final. And I think that's our biggest problem. It's the arrogance in our mentality. And I don't know whether or not it comes from within the squad or if it seeps down from the top of the club. And, they just pick that up as, from when they're being there and they sign for Spurs. But I don't like it. And I've seen it under so many different managers. And like you said about when Jose come in, he's a proven winner. Yeah. But look at how they've been playing lately. They don't care. They do not care. When it comes to things like that. They're the same players that's moaned about Pochettino having double sessions, but they're the same players that moan they're not trained hard enough under Jose. You know?
Can't win.
You can't win with them. I think a lot of the time they've got to look at themselves and realise, okay, yeah, great, you play for a club like Spurs, fantastic. You got to a Champions League final. You didn't win it. You have not won anything. So sometimes just take a step back and play for the badge. If you want to be successful, play for the badge. You have not earned your right to have that level of arrogance. And just, when you said about Harry Kane before, about having someone to come in and, having a good backup, how, like we had Jermaine Defoe and you had Robbie Keane and things like that. It's very difficult now. Spurs aren't going to really pay someone, obviously, aside from the Gareth Bale situation, 200 grand, 300 grand to sit on the bench and, come on, for 20 minutes here and there or play in cup games. It's very, very difficult to get that. And someone of quality, which is why we've had to go for someone like Vinicius, who, again, I'm not slagging him off at all. I actually really like him. I think he's done a good job when he has come on and played. But I think that's where you have to look at how much money is involved. Not many people want to come and sit on a bench for probably 60, 70K a week when they can go and sit somewhere else and earn the same money and probably play every week. So I think that's where Spurs are also stalled a lot and keep it in terms of a business. And obviously it's fundamentally a business. They run it very, very well, but they have to match the ambition on the pitch. And that is where the debate will always come back to, that they don't match the level of desire they want to balance their books. They do not match it on the pitch for me.
Are you worried about the financial situation of the club? Obviously, like I said, the talk about the pandemic cost them a lot of money and they're not going to have much of a transfer budget and all of that. Does that concern you?
It's the same across the board for everyone. Everyone lost money. So, yeah, of course, we were banking on, before COVID, we were banking on Lady Gaga concerts, boxing extravaganza, NFL, all of these things to bring extra money in. That hasn't happened, obviously, but everyone's lost money this year, or not last. So, yeah, it's one of them ones. But I'm not really that bothered or worried in a sense because it's the same across the whole of Europe. Everyone's down.
I would just like to add to that conversation that Arsenal are only 10 points off top 4, so potentially. I'm just saying. Let's go. Before we go to the FA Cup, let's go quickly towards Newcastle season. Yes, we 3-0 loss to Brighton and Hove Albion, who haven't exactly been great this season either. I'll ask for a raise of hands. Who here thinks that Newcastle are gonna go down?
Interesting.
That's everyone.
Why do you guys believe?
Is it just you that? Are you the host? I was saying, so you don't.
Oh yeah, I'll put 2 hands up. Don't worry about it. Why do you think they've stuck with Steve Bruce for this long?
Bro, when Mike Ashley is your owner, that's the only way I can describe it. I mean, there's no other way to say it. He came in, they were talking about him being a fan of Newcastle. In my head, I was like, he's not better than any of the managers that you had previously. It's just one of those things where, look, I know they've had a lot of injuries. They've been unlucky with a lot of injuries, and here and there, Almiron, Callum Wilson, here and there. But at the end of the day,
yeah, Saint Maximan
is true as well. But at the end of the day, no one can tell us that he plays to the strengths of any of his top players at all. Like, he doesn't. There's no system, and I hate that word, but it's fact. There's no system or style of play or tactic that you see them approach a game in a way you think they're going to win this game. And when they win the game, we're genuinely surprised. And that's crazy because teams will win games. But when Newcastle win a game, it's like, what happened? How did they win this game? And you're always looking at either Wilson or Saint Maximan because Almiron's goal record has severely dropped from when it was at Atlanta to Newcastle. So, bro, the only way I can describe it is this. Steve Bruce and Mike Ashley equals relegation. That's the only way I can say it. And I tipped them for relegation at the beginning of the season when we did the podcast because I was like, Steve Bruce is not that man. He's not going to lead you to another level. That's just what it is. He's not a good enough manager. They haven't got good enough players. They haven't got an owner who cares. That's why he's trying his best to sell the club. That's why he spent his money on House of Fraser instead of on a player. Like, that's as simple as it gets. I complain about my owners. Arsenal fans complain about Kroenke, Levy and Enoch from Spurs, Golden Sullivan from West Ham. But tell me a worse owner in the Premier League than Mike Ashley. I dare you to. There's not one. He's poor.
That's a debate that was in me and Clinton, who does Geordie's down south. We always have Golden Sullivan versus Ashley, and obviously, look, they're winning at the moment. But the story I read about why he stuck with him is he wants to show Bruce loyalty because basically Rafa left. He feels like Rafa left Newcastle in the lurch, basically, and then Steve Bruce jumped in at a time when they was in trouble. And now he wants to repay that, and he's basically happy to go down with Steve Bruce in a way. Like it's mad. Newcastle fans, imagine they had Rafa and everything was looking exciting. They loved him. They was loving life, and then imagine that they heard they was getting this takeover in Mbappe, Neymar.
They thought they were getting Pochettino. That was even better.
Yeah. Like all of these names they was throwing out, they was like gonna dominate for years, and all of a sudden that falls through. It sums up Newcastle. It does sum up Newcastle, and you got to feel for them. But yeah, they're probably gonna go down because Fulham's on the rise, and they're just I mean, you've got them next. We've got the Spurs. Yeah, Spurs got them next. We've got them, I think, in a few weeks. They've got some tough fixtures. I think Man City as well. Man United, I think they have as well. So
they're looking like they're going down, man, because they're not playing. When you Fulham believe in themselves. Even if they aren't winning games, they're fighting. Newcastle already look like they're down.
They believe in Parker as well, innit?
Yeah, Parker. He's looking like he's a good young manager, man. And Newcastle just look already down and out. It's crazy. I wouldn't have thought it probably a month or two ago, but right now I really believe that they're going to go down.
I say just get them the hell out of here, to be honest.
Players.
Do you guys think there's going to be like a Sunderland situation? Because obviously they got Steve Bruce. I feel like he'll go. But
if Kendall hears you say that, you're dead. You know. Listen, if they go through a Sunderland kind of drop, or like a Leeds, or dare I say like Pompey, or even Blackpool, all those teams.
Boy.
Listen. If you feel it's toxic now,
it doesn't look promising though. Because I mean,
I don't think their squad is bad enough for it to get to that situation.
But how many would they keep? If they get relegated, how many would they keep? because
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, but you've got to have a look at it. So a lot of them, all right, like Ryan Fraser, Callum Wilson jumped ship from Bournemouth because they went down. Again, sometimes you've got to look at the personnel. Sometimes you're just not good enough to be in the Premier League. You're just not. Sometimes you just got to find your level, and that's that. Just like as an example, someone like Neil Warnock, who always says he hates coming to the Premier League because his level is the Championship. He enjoys being in the Championship. Sometimes you just got to find your level. And I'm not saying Newcastle are a Championship team, but I'm saying some of those players clearly are Championship players because you're going to probably suffer back-to-back relegations. So that should tell you a lot about the players that you've got in your squad. And then if I look here and have a look at Brighton, who are just above them, Brighton are a better team by Newcastle. They play better football. Above them, Burnley will grind out results. I don't ever think Burnley are going to go down when I look at them. Despite they might not do much in a season, but I don't ever fear that they're probably going to drop. Then same point, Southampton, they're not going to go down. And then you look just under them, Fulham are going to stay up because, like you said, they believe in Scott Parker. So you have to look at that chunk of the table. Who is the most susceptible to go down? And it would be Newcastle, whether they like it or not. That's just the way they play. They don't bring much to the table, and I say that because we're going to play them next, and they're probably going to beat us. But that's
Don't jinx it.
If there's one team you're not losing to is Newcastle. You are not losing.
Well, you say that we drew at the beginning of the season. We should never have drawn that game, and things happen. Stranger things have happened to Spurs, but just from looking at it from a neutral perspective, and you look at the table and you look at their squad, and you think, well, they probably are going to have back-to-back relegations, and you do have to look. I'm not saying Mike Ashley isn't an awful owner, he is, but you also have to look at the personnel that's in that squad as well. Maybe they just think they're a little bit too good than what they are.
Hear that?
What are you saying about Joe Willock, Cahill? Because I'm seeing these Newcastle fans saying that he's one of the worst players they've ever seen. That's
insane. I guess they can keep him if they feel that positively about him.
All jokes
aside, it's weird signing though, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm surprised at how bad he's been. Like, I thought he would go there and ball out. I thought he would go there and do bits, and he's just faded into the background. I feel
like it's on a serious level. It's one of those situations where they get somebody from like a top club and they expect them to pull up trees. Like, we all remember when Renato Sanchez went to Swansea, and everybody expected this 18-year-old, this 9-year-old to pull out a Ronaldo-esque season. And that's just not the player he is. So from a recruitment standpoint, Newcastle should have looked at Willock and saw that he doesn't really bring that much to the table in terms of goals, in terms of output. So that's probably a bad
kind of
sign.
Like Ryan Brewster at Sheffield United in a
way. Yeah.
That was a shocking sign.
You know what it is? I didn't expect him to have goals and assists, but I thought he'd be able to like run the game almost like what's his name down at Fulham? That came over from Chelsea.
Ruben
Loftus-Cheek.
Yeah,
Loftus-Cheek.
So
he's been brilliant.
But he can manage and control a game, and I thought that's what Willock would do, like that box to box kind of game.
It also comes down to managerial style as well. Like we all agree that Scott Parker is a decent to good manager. We all also agree that Steve Bruce doesn't cut the mustard at Premier League level anymore. So I don't feel like he would have I've elevated it under any other manager. But then they had Steve Bruce. So I don't think it would have worked either way. Let's quickly go to United.
We don't have to.
It's an FA Cup.
You know, kiss my teeth, bro. We have to do this.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said success isn't measured by trophies anymore; it's measured by position. Is that something you agree with, Coach?
I agree with what Zlatan said. I don't agree with the whole better part, but he said, "But my team won," and that's what that matters to me, bro. You did really. Actually, no, I say you did. Pogba did a great job on Thursday, and then this whole trash performance. Now, firstly, I'm going to say this. It's normal now, which is absolutely disgusting, that a black player can have a bad game, and then in social media, you see the racist Bruce, Fred being the latest. So that is absolutely, it's just, at this point, I don't even have to discuss it anymore because you know it's coming when a black player has a bad game. But boy, did he have a bad game.
Boy, the hype. You was probably hyping as well, Kojo. Admit it. You was celebrating when you signed it.
No, so okay, so if I'm honest, and you can go back to don't worry what episode it was, but when we signed him, because of, and if you see what he was doing at Shakhtar, this player is not the Fred that I saw. That's why I'm so rattled. I saw set piece excellence. I saw goals from midfield. I saw excellent tackling, tracking back, outmuscling some way bigger men than him. And he came to United. He must be Unitified. I don't know what term you want to use for it. He's become everything that we despise about United right now in the terms of like they're just not good enough. And he's a player that's just not good enough. He's not put up any trees. And again, he cost a lot of money. But he wasn't the only one, of course. But it's got to a point where when someone's such a constant in your team, you got to look at him and say, you are definitely part of the problem in that 11 because you're just not it. And that's as simple as it gets. He's just not it. He's not it. To be honest, Bruno came onto the pitch and had the performance he had against AC Milan, so that says a lot. I can go around the whole team, but yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Can I just ask you about Van der Beek? Like, what do you think about him?
I like the guy. I still think he's overall in the games he's given us. He's had 2 bad performances. The rest have been okay to very good. What is the issue is I don't know if Ole doesn't feel like he's settled into the team, or if Ole doesn't believe that he can fit in whatever sort of tactical style he wants to play. But you've got someone that can play sort of 3 central positions for you in midfield, and you're not utilising it whatsoever. The fact that he's played less minutes than Van Dijk this season is quite disgraceful. And Van Dijk's been out for a long time. So that tells you a lot. He started off very nervous just on the weekend as well. You could see it. You know, he got a lot of forward passes that were free and available to make. He went backwards. He looked shaky. But as soon as he got the dummy and Greenwood scored, his confidence started building. And as it built up, he was subbed off. And that sums up his time at United. And the guy that was the worst player in the midfield in the game was there until the third goal was conceded. And then they took him off for 18-year-old Amad Diallo. That is the issue. So I feel sorry for him, but I feel like I want to give him one more season. I feel like next season should be the season where he really steps up and goes up to a level where we can now say, your manager shouldn't be looking at Fred and McTominay to be the guys anymore. You should now be taking that place because everyone knows you've got higher quality than them. But there must be something happening, if I'm going to be honest, in training that makes Ole look and say, I don't know if I'm ready to put you into the team yet. But then again, I don't trust Ole either. So I'm trying to give him something on the side, but I feel a bit sorry for Van der Beek. But AC Milan, Ajax players have struggled in their first seasons elsewhere. Like De Jong has as well. Ziyech is struggling at Chelsea right now. So it could be a one-season thing. You never know. Next season he could step up. So I'd keep him in and see what happens.
You know what? Davison Sanchez didn't struggle in his first season. He actually looked good, and then he regressed.
True. But there is it's when it's a young player, when they're doing some things that you like, that is good for them because you want them to develop. He just hasn't developed. He sort of stays stagnant, and then he's either lower or same place. So that's the issue with him. But yeah, I want Van der Beek to stay. Apparently, rumors coming out that he might leave. I'm not interested in hearing that, bro. The guy that I spoke about previously better leave before him. That's what I'm gonna say. And we deserve to lose.
You deserve to leave. City treble? Yes.
Yeah.
No.
God forbid. Is my response.
God forbid.
I don't think they do.
What, you mean
You don't think
domestic
they'll do
level or with Champions League?
Oh yeah. What were you going champions?
Oh,
were you
domestic.
Domestic. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Domestic. Yeah, probably.
I think Chelsea. If Chelsea beat them, Chelsea win it.
Yeah, I think Chelsea will beat them. You know.
You think?
You're not backing us then.
I wanted to stay away from Tottenham and talk about Chelsea first. But yeah, I think we'll beat them as well, man. I'm hoping we do. I don't see why not in a one-off game, and we beat them already this season. So, and it's Jose Mourinho. So yeah, I'm putting all my prayers up, and I hope we beat them. But I don't think they'll do the treble. I really don't. One way or another, they're not.
They done the domestic. They called it the domestic quadruple. I'll never forget seeing that message on Twitter. We completed the domestic quadruple, and I'm thinking, wait, Premier League, FA Cup, League Cup.
What's the domestic quadruple? What did they?
They added the community shield.
Yeah, but that's because Arsenal made it a trophy. That's why they made it. They made it a trophy.
What Spurs made a trophy?
Nothing yet.
Exactly.
Nothing.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go.
The Audi Cup. The Audi Cup.
The
Don't
Audi
you
Cup.
forget it.
The Audi Cup. I feel like we shall wrap it up there. I guess for joining us. Where can they find you?
Wait, who?
Patrick.
Oh, Patrick. Yeah. Plug yourself.
Sorry, yeah. So it's Patrick Tyrant on Twitter. You can find me on the Views TV official podcast, which is every Sunday. So yeah, thank you for having me on, man. It's been a pleasure.
Lawless, where can I find you?
At the Lawless on Twitter, or the Lawless rather, and then West Ham Fan TV everywhere else. Fan cams, reviews, watch-alongs, previews, all of that stuff.
Abby, where can I find you?
On Twitter at Abby_Summers or on Instagram at Abby Summers.
Gojo, where can they find us?
First of all, everyone's links is in the bio also. So if anyone didn't catch that, you can find them there. Subscribe, and obviously follow them. Other than that, you can find us right here on YouTube at 3inMidfield Podcast. You can find us on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, on Twitter. 3inMidfield, and you can find me personally in second place in the top 4, unlike my panelists over here. I'm going to end it quickly myself because that was my barb. That was another episode of 3inMidfield Podcast. Good night. Peace.